we're here. I think everything is working, and I'm not able to post the link for some reason into the chat because it's telling me I'm not signed in, but I am signed in. I posted a new video about RFK Jr. just before I started the stream, so if you haven't seen that already, make sure that you go and check that out. All you have to do is click on my channel and go to the videos tab and look at my latest upload. And we are just going to get started here with this first clip of Charlie Kirk, my favorite. I haven't covered Charlie in a long time, but he said some things a couple days ago, or it might have been yesterday, about affirmative action and some very prominent black political figures.
You really have to wonder. In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us.
That you're racist? Yes, we are coming out and saying that for you, Charlie. They're
coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, that's also, it's not really true.
You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
Charlie is saying that these people are literally, excuse me for just one moment here while I get this straight. I'm having some type of trouble here with my computer. Excuse me, we got everything straight, so we're just going to pick up right where we left off.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that.
Yeah, she can't even. Yeah, yeah.
We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own.
Yeah, so Charlie Kirk here says that it's very obvious that Sheila Jackson Lee, was not able to get into college where she went to college, which was actually Yale. She went to Yale. She didn't get into Yale. She didn't, graduate Yale for her meritocracy, okay? But something that I learned about Charlie Kirk that I actually didn't know before I saw this clip is that Charlie Kirk went to community college and he dropped out, and he doesn't have any college education. He tried to go to community college. At the time, he was taking classes at Harper College, a local community college, but subsequently dropped out to pursue a life in conservative activism as a quasi-politician. I feel like that is a really, really, really charitable term when it comes to Charlie Kirk. I don't think I would classify him as a politician, but Charlie Kirk is a community college dropout. Now, the thing about this is that when you look at someone like Sheila Jackson Lee, excuse me here, when you look at someone like her, again, it's like I just said, she went to Yale. She went to the University of Virginia Law School. Those are both very, Yale more than the Virginia School, but those are both very prestigious universities. I can't think of, a higher education, a better school to go to. Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama went to Princeton. She wrote a 99-page thesis, her thesis at Princeton, Educated Blacks and the Black Community. And I have not read her thesis yet. I have seen people talk about Michelle Obama's thesis. Joy Ann Reid, she went to Harvard. Every single person he named, and let's not forget Ketanji Brown Jackson, these people went to Harvard and Yale. They went to some of the best schools in the entire country, in the entire world. So when Charlie Kirk is a literal college dropout, you can't take him seriously. He's sitting there, literally said out loud, I can't take you seriously in any capacity, but Charlie, you're a college dropout. Also, that was me that called into the Majority Report. And if you haven't already seen the video that I made on my call into the Majority Report, I definitely recommend that you go and check out that video.
I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. This is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are.
Yeah, they're so arrogant. They went to college and they graduated. How arrogant and narcissistic.
They
should have been more like Charlie and made a smart move and dropped out.
Narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance.
Charlie Kirk, he is definitely impressed me with how fucking stupid he is. I mean, he's doing a really great job now. And this isn't the first time.
Of course.
I mean, he's just sitting here complaining about this for no reason. He's not making a case against affirmative action that makes sense. He's not saying anything at all. He's just sitting here moaning and groaning into this microphone about people that are more educated than him and more successful than him. It's pathetic.
Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama.
I can imagine a world without Charlie Kirk, and let me tell you something, it is fucking glorious. I can't actually really imagine a world without someone like Charlie Kirk, but, I can try.
Or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive.
He's still, again, Charlie Kirk, just say you're racist. Just come out and say it. I'm so tired of this. You're not even saying anything about them that's substantial in any way. You're not giving legitimate criticism of any of these people. You're just saying their names and going, Come on. I'm tired of these fucking right-wingers doing this dog whistle bullshit. Just say it. Just say you're fucking racist, Charlie.
They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies.
Yes, because that is exactly what affirmative action is. Again, no evidence to substantiate that claim, just something he pulled right out of his ass. It's just, again, if you're going to talk about these types of issues and you want me to take you seriously, Charlie, whilst you're saying, these people that I'm mentioning can't be taken seriously, say something. Say something of substance.
That turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through our policies.
I just I love the anti-white, anti-Asian, whatever you want to call it, sentiment that these people attach to something like affirmative action, because it's just it's hilarious, because they're literally just they're straight up racist, and it's disgusting. Gabriel Gorski, how's it going? How are you doing today? We are going to move on to our next topic here. Also, I don't know if it's working. Let me know. You guys should be able to see your messages pop up on the screen. I don't know if it's working or not. I'm having trouble right now with my plugins. But this is something that I actually learned about through a call on the Majority Report, and I tried to find the call. I really did try to find the call. I couldn't find the call. It was a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure it's still up. I couldn't find it. But somebody called into the Majority Report, and they said they were in Florida, and they started talking about something that I hadn't heard of called the Florida State Guard. And this was something that they said that DeSantis had just passed this bill. So I guess that this is probably when they called in, was May 26th. But again, I couldn't find the call. And they called in, I believe it was a woman, and she said, DeSantis just signed this bill to expand the existence of the Florida State Guard, and he's just trying to make it his private army. And I'm going to be honest, I listened to the call, and it kind of sounded a little scary to me, the way she was describing it. Like, super fascist type scary, okay? And that's exactly what it is. And so this article here is from the 26th. So I'm going to go over this really quick, and then we're going to get into what's going on right now. Okay, so just so you guys can see here, Governor Ron DeSantis on Friday signed a bill that will expand and make permanent the Florida State Guard, which DeSantis revived last year. DeSantis' office said the Florida State Guard Bill, HB 1285, was among 8 military-related measures that he signed Friday. Lawmakers passed the bills during the legislative session that ended May 5th. The Florida State Guard was initially set up during World War II to replace Florida National Guard members who were deployed abroad. It went inactive in 1947. Okay, but DeSantis restored it last year, at least in part as a way to help the Florida National Guard during emergencies. Now, this is the really important part here. This is the part that we need to focus on right here. Last year's approval, however, came in what is known as a budget implementing bill, which means the Florida State Guard authorization would expire July 1st, according to a House staff analysis. The bill signed Friday will eliminate the July 1 expiration date and put the Florida State Guard in law as a division of the State Department of Military Affairs. The bill will also expand the maximum size of the Florida State Guard from 400 to 1,500 members. And then they also have a budget figure down here for this Florida State Guard. And shortly after that, there was this. It was posted to Ron DeSantis' website. This is on the Florida government website. An article titled, Governor Ron DeSantis congratulates the Florida State Guard's first graduating class. I'm not going to go over this here. This is just an article talking about 100 soldiers officially completed the training program and became members of the Florida State Guard. And it's talking about what he did. And, it's also trying to get, this is also just, a recruitment ad, really. But a couple days ago, the Miami Herald reported that veterans that signed up and graduated for Ron DeSantis' Florida State Guard are quitting, and are quitting training because DeSantis is literally just trying to make it his personal military, and these soldiers literally were signing up. Veterans were signing up because they thought that they were going to be able to help with emergency relief, go to places that need help after, a natural disaster or something like that and help them out. When the first recruiting class of Governor Ron DeSantis' new Florida State Guard showed up for training last month, they had varied experiences and expectations. Over 30 days in June, teenagers out of high school and retired military veterans came to Camp Blanding, the National Guard base near Jacksonville. Many were told they would volunteer for a revived State Guard with a non-military mission, help Floridians in times of need or disaster. Instead, the state's National Guard trained the volunteers for combat. Khakis and polos were replaced by camouflage uniforms. Volunteers assured they could keep their facial hair were ordered to shave, and they were drilled on how to rappel with ropes, navigate through the woods, and respond to incidents under military command. When DeSantis announced in 2021 he wanted to revive the long-dormant State Guard, he vowed it would help Floridians during emergencies. But in the years since its launch, key personnel and a defend mission remain elusive. The state is looking for the program's third leader in 8 months. According to records reviewed by the Herald Times in interviews with program volunteers, a number of recruits quit after the first training class last month because they feared it was becoming too militaristic. You have to really be pushing. You have to really be pushing kind of hard for ex-military guys to say that your shit is too militaristic. It's scary. It is. It's very scary. Weeks into that inaugural June training, one volunteer, a disabled retired Marine Corps captain, called the local sheriff's office to report he was battered by Florida National Guard instructors when they forcibly shoved him into a van after he questioned the program and its leadership. DeSantis' office referred questions to Major General John D. Haas, Florida's adjutant general overseeing the Florida National Guard. In a statement, Haas said the State Guard was a military organization that will be used not just for emergencies, but for aiding law enforcement with riots and illegal immigration. We are aware that some trainees who were removed are dissatisfied. This is expected with any course that demands rigor and discipline. Chosen as a leader, this vet quit on day one, and this article is It's very long. We're not going to go over the entire article here, but I definitely recommend that you guys go and check out this article for yourself because this is, again, I heard about this the first time through a Majority Report call. Someone said that they were living in Florida and they called in about it, and they had a very extensive knowledge about it. This is exactly what they were describing, and this article came out, I believe, the 13th or the 14th. So this article was just published recently. So this is something that is very, very real. We're going to read just this last little paragraph here, or this one right here. This is the one we're going to read here. Governor's vision for the State Guard. The revival of Florida State Guard started off modestly. DeSantis proposed bringing back the World War II era force to supplement the overworked and understaffed Florida National Guard. Although some Democrats were critical of handing DeSantis more power, state lawmakers last year gave the governor twice the volunteers that he requested, 400 members and a $10 million budget. Unlike the National Guard, State Guard members can't be deployed by the federal government. They answer only to the governor. Lawmakers in 2022 added stipulations saying that members could only be called up in an emergency and couldn't operate outside the state. Those requirements were dropped a year later. Again, all of this stuff is extremely important because when he first said, this is what I'm going to do, obviously, I mean, no one's surprised that DeSantis fucking lied about it. But, I mean, this is super scary stuff. The program, open to Floridians ages 18 to 60, received thousands of applications, according to DeSantis himself. In June last year, DeSantis named a decorated Marine, a Purple Heart recipient from Miami, as director of the State Guard. He died by suicide in October with post-traumatic stress disorder a contributing factor, according to a police report. In January, DeSantis named the program's deputy director, Luis Soler, to lead the force, earning a $165,000 salary. That's a big salary. Soler, a captain in the United States Navy Reserve, began recruiting. Newhouse and others were asked to crisscross the state, interview State Guard recruits, and seek people with a variety of skills. Volunteers are supposed to get $200 stipends for the days they're called to work. Newhouse said he and Soler reviewed the program as more of a federal emergency management agency response team than a National Guard unit, shunning ranks and camouflage uniforms. He said that he saw the State Guard as a resume builder for college students and a way for veterans and others to continue to serve their communities. So again, the people that were signing up for this, they were signing up because they wanted to help. They wanted to do emergency relief. They wanted to try and, do what DeSantis originally came out and said that he was reviving it for. And, again, these guys that are literally part of the military now, in the Navy Reserve, ex-military, are saying, this is a step too far. By March, however, the state's vision began to change. That month, state lawmakers and the governor revealed that they wanted to assign the state guard $89 million to buy boats, planes, and helicopters. They wanted a specialized unit within the guard to have police powers and the ability to carry weapons, and they wanted to boost the state guard to 1,500 members. Instead of being activated only during emergencies within Florida, they could be sent to any state to protect and defend the people of Florida from threats to public safety. While nearly half of states have volunteer state guards, usually with military structures, few, if any, appear to have equivalent powers. Texas, for example, has deployed its state guard to the U.S.-Mexico border, but members can't carry guns or make arrests and don't have aircraft. DeSantis, a presidential candidate, has sent Florida National Guard members and state law enforcement officers to the Texas border and said he is willing to work with like-minded Republican governors and sheriffs to do more state-led efforts at the southern border. So please, guys, let me know. What do you think about this? If you live in Florida and you're part of my audience, please let me know what you think about it. Next here, this is just a short one here that I just wanted to go over really quick because I saw it and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way and I wanted to go over it. This is a clip of Kayleigh McEnany talking about the writers-actors strike.
Yeah, Hollywood actors want to be paid more. I mean, cry me a river here. This is ridiculous. I don't watch Hollywood award shows because it's leftists patting one another on the back.
I mean, that's not what the awards shows are, but there's a lot of people that don't watch awards shows, Hollywood award shows, but it's not because of that. It's because they're kind of just, you know, the same thing. Not entertaining, not interesting. And it's actually funny that she's sitting there saying that, you know, it's just a bunch of leftist garbage when awards shows, not even just in Hollywood, but across all types of entertainment, routinely snub people of color, people of Asian descent, movies that deserve it. So it's just, you know, no one really takes these award shows that seriously.
Strike is just leftists infighting. That's what this is. It affects the caterer most. It affects the crew members most.
Also, she says this strike is just leftist infighting. What are you talking about? What do you mean? How leftist infighting where?
People who depend on their paycheck, all because the people at the top want more money is what it comes down to. I think it's...
Yeah, you're right. The people at the top want more money. That's part of the problem that she seems to not understand. She's also saying actors want to get paid more, cry me a river. Now, you know, you sit there and you say something like actor, you know, people think of like really famous people like Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon, RDJ, you know, the people that are in Oppenheimer right now, you know, the people in the Barbie movie, whatever. There are over 160,000 members of the Screen Actors Guild in this country. That's a lot. 160,000 is a lot of fucking people, okay? I don't think anybody could sit there. You could probably name 100 actors if you tried. 160,000 people. It's not just these huge multi-million-dollar people like The Rock that exist, that are a part of this union. It's normal, everyday people that are trying to make a living that don't make nearly as much as those people do. And it matters for them.
It's crazy.
And the studio executives get paid so much money. Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, gets, I don't even know what his salary is. It's like 20-something million dollars. He's worth like 600 million, almost 700 million. Okay? David Zaslav, Warner Brothers CEO, insanely rich. And that's all the studios, okay? All of the studio execs are insanely rich.
Not only that, they say we can expect further delays in upcoming film releases. Okay, upcoming film releases. My Family Will Survive. We don't need Hollywood. But you know what we couldn't have survived? The essential...
Okay, but there are people that actually do need Hollywood because, again, they make their living there, okay? It would be, you know, again, this is just, you can tell that someone like this has never worked in, I guess, you know, what you would say a real job. I know she was Trump's White House press secretary, but, like, it's just, how privileged do you have to be to sit there and say, you know, my family will survive? Well, guess what? There's a ton of people. You know, when you go to the movies, I guess she's really too stupid to understand this, but when you go to the movies, at the end, there's this thing called the credits, and you couldn't try and read every fucking name on any major movie's release credits. You wouldn't be able to do it because there are so many fucking names, okay? There are so many people that work on these movies, and the only thing you see, again, is their name at the end of the credits. Do such hard fucking work, and they don't make nearly as much money as the big stars do. They make their living here. So it is a fucking issue. It is a real problem, and again, this is a completely historic strike, okay?
Workers, the healthcare workers showing up during the pandemic, the meat packers showing up during the pandemic. They showed up to do their job. But Fran Drescher wants to sit there. She called herself a victim today. She called all of Hollywood actors a victim. I don't think most people in America look at them and say, victims, we're going to miss your movies.
Again, well, you know, I thank God Kayleigh McEnany can speak for, you know, all 100, and my chat here is saying 170,000 plus workers, actors that are part of this union that are on strike right now, trying to fight for living wages. Mr. Anderson says the top Hollywood exec made $498 million in the last 5 years, 384 times as much as the average writer. It's very frustrating to see something like this. And again, I'm not part of the Screen Actors Guild. You know, I don't work out there. But again, I've heard people talk about it. I've heard big actors. I've heard little actors talk about it. This is a real issue. It's a real problem. And, you know, I'm glad these people are fighting for living wages. And again, if I was part of the Screen Actors Guild or a writer or something like that, and I saw something like that, it would make me very fucking angry. So we're gonna do Dan Crenshaw here. YouTube has been cracking down on me a little bit for covering trans stuff, transgender issues, which I'm kind of disappointed about that. But we're gonna do this. If YouTube flags me, then oh well. Here's Dan Crenshaw. I haven't seen this clip yet. Dan Crenshaw talking about transgender children, I believe.
Okay, there's a lot to address here. A lot of things said. No facts given. A lot of things said. I've been called cruel multiple times.
Also, this was a clip that he posted himself.
Let's address that first. I am not the one who is cruel.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there was missing context that makes Dan Crenshaw look the way he just described himself as other people describing him.
Doing a double mastectomy on a 12-year-old girl, that's cruel. Castrating a 10-year-old boy, that's cruel. Putting them on
What did he say? I have to back that up. I'm sorry.
The one who is cruel. Doing a double mastectomy on a 12-year-old girl, that's cruel. Castrating a 10-year-old boy, that's cruel.
Okay.
Putting them on permanent hormone therapy and puberty blockers that could prevent them from ever having children, permanently changing their physiology, there's a cruelty to that for sure.
Well, you know, again, Dan, if you're going to sit there and say something like that, then why don't you talk about the young people that experience physical and mental challenges, that struggle with something like their gender identity. Okay, talk about you know, the suicide rate of these people. Talk about how the science, the very real science and research shows that gender affirming care for youth is positive in all different types of ways. Okay? He's sitting there saying that, you know, well, you know, doing chopping a 10-year-old little boy's balls off is cruel. Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? No one said that shit except for you. You said that shit.
We are not the crazy ones here. All right? We've been really. 5 minutes ago, none of y'all believed this. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. This has been called a manufactured culture.
Are we being honest here, Dan Crenshaw? Because I don't hear you, again, no data, no research, no facts, nothing based in reality, complete delusion. I don't know how, it's just frustrating because you think about someone who's like a trans person. They're just trying to literally live their fucking life, exist in the world. And then you have people like this guy and apparently every other fucking Republican politician and Republicans everywhere that just want to be as transphobic as possible, try to introduce as much transphobic legislation as they can. It's beyond frustrating, okay? And it's nothing. This isn't new. This is nothing new for them. This has been going on for a long time, and it as much as I hate to say this, it seems like it's only getting worse. And I don't want it to get worse, obviously. I want it to get better, but I feel like it's I don't know what the term or the word is. We get to the point where it gets worse before it gets better. I don't know if there's a term for that.
Culture war. So we're the ones who, if it's a manufactured culture war, then why are we even debating it? Why do you care if it's banned? So it's not manufactured.
Also, I'm sorry. This is something he said something, and just like I need to talk about it because it just maybe I'm like just completely in the minority on this, but I hear Charlie Kirk say it a lot. The word culture war, and like I hear Charlie Kirk say stuff like we're losing in the culture wars, or I hear Tim Pool say, well, we're gaining ground in the culture war, and it's like I try to research what these terms mean. I try to sit there and like understand it, and I know what the term culture wars means, but it's just these people throwing it around out there like this. It's like, what do you mean culture war when it's somewhat? This is trans people are fucking people. They have rights just like every other single human being on this earth does. They're no different than anyone else, okay? So, what do you mean when you say culture war? It's not a culture thing, man. What the fuck are you talking about? And he's sitting there saying that this is manufactured or whatever. He sounds fucking crazy. Insane.
We are responding.
I don't have
to what
any
is
other words.
Inherently a social contagion. In the UK, referrals for these kind of transitions went up by a factor of 33 between 2009 and 2018. In the US in 2007.
Yeah, it's called, you know what that's called, buddy? It's called, as time goes on, stuff gets better. And right now, in the moment we exist in right now, technology as good as it will ever be. 10 years from now, technology will be as good as it is then. It'll be much better than it is now. Everything will be better in 10 years. That's how that shit works, dog.
There was only one pediatric gender clinic that would do this. Now there's over 70.
Yeah, again, because we keep doing research and we keep learning new things, and people can develop that research further the more time goes on. Wow. Yeah, it's called science, buddy. You got it.
This is increased by 45,000% in many hospitals. We're not making this up.
Can you show me then? If you're really not making it up, please show me. Please. Like, I can't handle when people say shit like that and they don't. Like, I have conversations with people all the time and they'll say something that is so outrageous. I know it's not true. And I try to hold my tongue, but a lot of the time I'll be like, can you show me where you saw that? Like,
we are responding to it.
We are responding to it. Well, I'm sorry, Dan Crenshaw, but your response, well, I'm not sorry, but your response is completely bigoted, not based in reality, and you're just literally being a straight-up transphobe there. I had one more thing that I did want to cover. It was another Fox News clip on the writer's strike, Larry Kudlow clip, but it's a little long. It's about 5 minutes, so I don't think we are going to get to that one today. But I see, I'll read what I have here. Veronica Sawyer says, how can we tip you, man? There should be a link down in the description. Should be the first link. It is a link to a PayPal account. All you have to do is press that link, go down there, and go from there. Gabriel Gorski said, I am hoping that the union will put out an official drop day where we can collectively cancel our subscription at the same time and really make them take notice. Give him a break. He has a tough time seeing the difference law. Yeah, I guess he really does, since, you know, he's missing an eye there. Religious fundamentalism rots the brain, doesn't it? And it's so interesting to hear these people go out in public and talk about this stuff. It's really, really interesting and scary at the same time. It's more like a religious war of intolerance, absolutely. It's almost culture wars is not about culture. Woke is not about being awake. Yeah, it's just all a bunch of they just try to find any way that they can to do this like under the table dog whistle shit when they're like doing, you know, like racism, anti-Semitism, transphobia, whatever it is. You know, they have no shortage of, you know, really specific words and language they use to, you know, try to, you know, swim around it. And Antifa is not anti-fascism. They're nuts. Well, you know, I see a lot of people talk about Antifa, and you know, I don't ever meet people that say that they are a part of the. I mean, I'm a part of the Antifa movement because it just means anti-fascist, but it's not like a group of like people. It's a movement, and if you identify with that movement, which is again just anti-fascism, then you know I guess you are part of Antifa. But it's not like a group of people. Um, it's not like a it's not like an actual group of people where like you're like, oh yeah, I'm part of Antifa. No, it's just it's a movement. That's what it is. And I think a lot of people confuse movements with actual groups. It's not like a gang. Like um that's not what it is. But that is going to be it today for the live show. If you want to rewatch any of this live show, all you have to do is go to my channel and click the live tab. It's super easy. All you have to do is go click the live tab and you will be able to see this entire stream. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button and press that little bell. Turn on all notifications so you guys